Hello there and welcome back to another review. So I thought today I'd do something a bit different where I've been reviewing like loads of kung fu movies or that sort of Asian cinema kind of films. I thought I'd do something a bit different because I do want to sort of keep it mixed on this channel. I do want to review sort of recent movies, old movies, classic movies, cult movies, bad movies, you name it. I do want to sort of get a whole mixed bag going on with this channel. So I thought I'd mix things up, and today we're going to be looking at Jordan Peele's Spielberg-esque sci-fi thriller that is Nope. Now a lot of people, when they saw this movie, they think sort of Spielberg, Close Encounters of the Third Kind in particular, but to me personally, when I watched this movie, I was just reminded of Signs with Mel Gibson and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. That was one film that I think in many ways I could see probably more influence from that movie than anything sort of Spielberg's done. It's got a Spielberg feel, this film. It's got a Spielberg flavour going on with it. But I think Signs in particular, that seemed very sort of was an obvious influence to me. It definitely seemed that was definitely a vibe running through it, like the idea of aliens and sort of farmers in like that sort of rural setting. It just couldn't help but sort of be reminded of Signs. So now one thing that Jordan Peele does extremely well, particularly in this movie, and if you've seen any of his other movies, you know what I mean, but one thing he does extremely well is atmosphere. He's very good at sort of setting a tone, setting a mood, letting you get sucked in, getting you invested, and that's something a real clever filmmaker does before anything's happened, but you're slowly like drawn in to sort of what's like Hitchcock was very good at it as well, just where you sort of you're going along and then gradually things start to happen and unfold, and then things get cranked up, and Nope is a fine example of that. Made in 2022, starring Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Stephen Yeun and Michael Wincott, with a small role for Keith David. Visually and from a cinematography standpoint, the film is absolutely flawless. It really is incredible, just the way it looks visually, and it's so expansive, this film. It's a wide movie. It really looks wide open, and it does say really expansive in terms of the cinematography and the visuals. Jean Jacket, the alien being in this movie, has also been likened to sort of the angels from Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I get themes of that running through the movie too. Now, a lot of people have dissected the hell out of this movie. A lot of people have like some people, they rip films apart and they dissect them about themes and plot points and narratives and things like that. Like with all my reviews, I will just be reviewing this movie at face value. I'm not going to go overly too much in depth with it. I'm just going to let you know if it's a good movie, if it's a bad movie, what I liked, what I didn't like, and all that good stuff. I think when Jordan wrote this, it was a time during the height of the COVID pandemic, and and hats off to him. I mean, as a filmmaker, he made a film where the sky is actually threatening, right? I think it's a very clever idea. I think it's a novel idea. It's a very interesting idea. And I think after you watch this for the first time, for a day or two, you might be looking at the sky in a very different way. You might be thinking, maybe like something could be up there. You're not too sure, but initially you might be, after a while, after watching this, something like that might go through your head. What I like about this film is though that it builds and builds, and you get fantastic performances from the whole cast, and the film for the most part is played quite straight in terms of narrative and the story. Now, I wouldn't say the film is a masterpiece like many have said it is. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but what you do get here, I will say, is a really fun, enjoyable movie. There's probably going to be loads of reviews of this film out there, but I thought I just might as well put my 2 pence in, so to speak. So let's get into Nope. So we meet this family, the Haywoods, who train and handle horses for like film and television. OJ, Daniel's character we meet, and this guy, he's so good at acting, Daniel Kaluuya. I mean, it's just let his eyes act for him. He's a phenomenal talent and an incredible actor. Just say with his eyes alone, incredible eyes and great character. And he just all throughout the film, he has this very wary and tired look on his face, and he plays it perfectly. So we see OJ and his dad, played by Keith David, who is hit by something from the sky, which actually kills him. It turns out to be like a nickel, and the horse he was on is sort of embedded with a key that must have fallen from the sky too. That's sort of how the film opens. A very small role for Keith David, but so like keys con into the horse. Then we cut to OJ of a horse at this TV commercial where him and his sister Em get kicked out of the set after the horse sort of bucks and she comes home with OJ. Him and Em have a bit of a strained relationship, and OJ is selling some of his horses to like a neighbouring sort of like Western theme park run by Ricky Dupe. So OJ is struggling and needs the money, hence why he's selling horses to dupe. And I say the whole cast in this movie, it's a great casting choice. Every single one of them, I'm not going to single out anybody in particular, but some great cast and really do hold the film together really well and really nicely. So Dupe, we learned, is offered to buy the ranch and was once a child actor on a family sitcom called Gordy's Home, where a chimp went crazy. So after that reminiscing, OJ spots the horse like ghost in the pen, which then proceeds to bolt off in the middle of the night, which is eerie in itself. I don't want to give. I will be going through sort of the plot, but I will try and just glance over everything. I will try and I won't like sort of tell you note for note sort of exactly what, like every single detail, but I will be just sort of glancing over what happens. But that's eerie in itself. This horse sorts of bolts off in the night. After following the horse and with Jordan Peele directing his arse off with the superb, eerie, windy, cloudy, dark atmosphere, it really adds the film. And when I talk about atmosphere, Jordan Peele, natural talent for it, really is good. I mean, he really does get that eerie sense of just like some films back in it's sometimes what you don't see that is a lot more scarier than what you do see, and Nope really does play into that whole idea of like, I feel something's watching me but I can't see it, and that sometimes is, like I mentioned, a lot more scarier than say like a great big horrible monster chasing after you or coming after you. Really adds to the film. As I say, weird sound effects and the electric and the lights going, all this going on. Big thing in the film has, like I say, has tons of it. So he drives back after hearing like these weird sounds. So AJ thinks he saw something, and him and M basically plan to get evidence of it so they can make money from it, basically. And Oprah is referenced a few times. Like they say, oh, it's not Oprah. It's not Oprah ready. It's not Oprah worthy. The guy from the electronic store, Angel, comes to install their new equipment. And what a great supporting character this is. Really has a great dynamic with M and OJ. And turns out he's big into aliens too, and he's big on conspiracy theories, which is always handy. It's always nice to have somebody like that. He's not only a tech guy, but he's a believer in conspiracies and aliens and everything like that. So after OJ investigates a noise which turns out to be Dupe's sons, which at first you think are sort of like little aliens, because I remember when I first saw that scene, I thought, oh no, like they've gone, like they are literally little Martians. Like initially I thought that was what the aliens are, but it turns out it's just Dupe's kids. Angel is watching the camera installed from his computer at work, and we have the odd jump scare here and there. Not too much, but there are a couple of jump scares in it. Jordan Peele doesn't overdo it with the jump scares. I mean, a lot of horror movies, especially a lot of teen horror movies, rely too much on the jump scares to the point where it's just... There's been movies that I've watched where I've jumped more at the jump scares than actually when the real scary stuff happens, which is not... That's not a good horror film. If you have to rely on jump scares to get people scared, that is not, to me, not a good horror film. So, yeah, you see this little... Angel's watching the cameras... So after the camera installed from his computer at work, we have the odd jump scare in here, and then we have like a bug coming out of nowhere to sort of land on the camera. The other camera is down, and OJ watches this like fake horse decoy they have sort of get sucked into the air whilst all the horses are acting weird. This cloud or shape in the sky is moving, and it's definitely a film you will benefit from watching with the lights off. I wouldn't watch this film sort of necessarily in a light environment. If you've got like sort of windows and like light coming in, it's very my advice is to watch this film in a darkly lit room. You will get most from Nope like that, because especially when it is at night, you really do get sucked into the scene a lot more, and you do see a lot more as well. It's a lot more vivid. I say to definitely make sure to watch it at night. This cloud of shape is moving, like I say, around the air. Definitely, let's say the vast landscapes even more so. My advice, as I say, just make sure to watch it with the light off. Then we meet Michael Wincott's character. Many of you, if you remember Michael Wincott, you remember him from Prince of Thieves, Robin Hood, with Kevin Costner. He was also in Alien Resurrection was another movie he was in. He's got a really deep sort of, his voice is really harsh. He's got like a smoker's voice, very, very deep, who plays sort of Atlas Hulst, who is like a cinematographer. Now then Angel turns up from the store and points out that there is a cloud that doesn't move, which is where the film suddenly, this is where we do pick up a lot still. Now that is eerie in itself. If that is very eerie in itself, the whole idea of there's this cloud and it's not moving. It is just staying there. I thought was eerie enough. What I thought was a real novel approach too is that let's not make it a spaceship. No, like I thought initially going into this, it's going to be a spaceship. It's going to be, there's a spaceship in the sky. You know, that's the generic, what you would expect it to be. But what is clever is Jordan Peele makes the what is in the sky, that is a living entity. Like that is a thing. Whatever it is, that is a thing, which I thought was quite a novel idea. The idea of this floating hostile organism like hidden in the sky, I like that. I really do like that. So OJ suspects that it may not be a ship. Then we have what many call the best scene of the movie with the flashback to the sitcom with this like chimp killing a co-star and going berserk on set and this fist bump between him and a young dupe. And it turns out Dupe knows about the alien being too. Like Dupe's sort of, it's got sort of a racket going with it, and he's using that as part of his show to sort of attract get audience members to his theme park. Basically, he feeds it horses, and it's meant to sort of suck up the horses in front of the crowd. So Dupe thinks him and this thing sort of have an understanding, but if you know film law and film film ethics or anything to go by, well, if you think you've got to deal with an alien being, it probably is not going to end well. It's probably not going to end the way you think it. However, like you know, what happens is he goes to feed this being in the horse. Whenever he goes to do it, this alien sucks up and basically turns up and he's a bit late and he sucks up the crowd and he's not the horse, including Dupes, which is done very quickly. It's very glanced over this bit when it sort of does show up. Basically, and he sucks them up, and it's sort of glanced over. Actually, you actually see the people inside the thing as well. You actually see them like where they are, sort of inside. I'd say I can't stress how big the film looks. When I talk about expansive and wide and epic, there's a real wideness to the movie. Like it looks so expansive and massive. OJ goes to Dupes to get his horse back, Lucky the horse, and above him we see this dark object moving around the clouds, and I love how randomly, out of nowhere, it comes up close to him, which I thought was quite cool. Like he's sort of seeing this thing, and then out of nowhere it really swoops down and comes up really close, which I didn't see coming, as it comes down so quickly. I think as you can't really make out what this thing is or even guess what it is, that makes it even more scary. Like, what is it? Where has it come from? Are there others? How long has it existed? All these questions, and that's why there probably will, I'd imagine, be a sequel tonight, because I think there's a lot that Jordan Peele can explain or expand on in this movie. I think it definitely is deserving of a sequel. So Angel and Em hide inside the house as OJ drives back as this like thing is hovering above them, which is spitting out all sorts of keys and change. And I love the scene too where he's in the car and he goes to get out and he's just hovering above him, so he stays there till morning when the power comes back on. So they escape eventually in Angel's van, leaves poor Lucky there in the horse wagon, bless him. So after crashing at Angel's, they come back and find Atlas Hulst is waiting for them after hearing about the disappearance from Dupe's ranch on the news. I mean, many have said there are a few plot holes in this movie. Like I said, I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece. I don't think it's a complete perfect movie, but it's an enjoyable one. It's a really, really enjoyable one. Like when they're talking about plot holes, I mean, like wouldn't the area be swarming with police, detectives, reporters if a group of people that site, like the people at Dupe's Ranch, if they've gone missing, like Atlas Hulst heard about it on the news, wouldn't other people be down there as well researching sort of this disappearance, especially like a mass disappearance where loads have gone missing at once? So I mean, if you know if there is a reason why that doesn't happen, please tell me. But as I say, for people like that amount of people, if they've gone missing, wouldn't that be swarming with police, forensics, detectives, God knows what else? I don't know. So just think, wouldn't there be more people in the area? I mean, after like such a, after a massive disappearance of that magnitude, wouldn't there be people there? So the whole plan is basically to lure out Jean Jacket, as they call it, to get evidence. They test like this. They put these like tube men to sort of lure it out, and OJ takes to ride in Lucky. Not sure why Holst has to have a hand crank camera as well. He's got a hand crank one for some reason. And that's another thing when they're trying to get evidence of it. For some reason, Anders Holst, he's got not only has he got a hand crank camera, but he starts filming right away when there's not even anything to film. Like, wouldn't it have made more sense to actually film when you think you can actually see something? But he starts just wasting loads of film. Not only that, at one point he has to change the film as well. So the plan is all going well, and then this random reporter from TMZ turns up on this electric scooter. After coming off his bike, OJ goes to get him. I love how eerie it is when the electronics always sort of die when you know Jean Jacket is approaching or like on the move. There's even like a semi-poltergeist sort of "it's here" kind of line in the movie as well. So as I say, it's definitely got that Spielberg vibe and that Spielberg flavour. OJ thinks the reason is to not look at it, and then it won't come for you. But what I think is, if this thing, whatever it is, needs to feed, surely it would eat you no matter what, regardless of whether you're looking at it or not. If he's come up with the idea that it won't come after me if I don't look at it, but if it's like an organism and it needs to feed, why would it just not eat you because you're not looking at it? Hopefully that would get explained, or some of you out there might be able to explain it. I'm not sure. Sure, let us say if it's hungry, it's going to eat you. So, like a lion in the wild, I'm sure that doesn't make sure, if you're like a lion in the jungle, I'm sure he doesn't make sure every single prey that he looks at, like he's going after, is not looking at him before he eats it. I don't know. Do not know. So they think they have enough footage after sort of luring it. Holst ends up getting sucked in, and Jean Jacket just starts sucking up everything at this point. OJ tries to lure it whilst riding Lucky. And he looks at Jean Jacket, that's right, and he just starts so sort of M can escape on the motorbike. And at this point it changed to more sort of a complex life form, something much more like a jellyfish, and it actually reminded me at the end of The Abyss, sort of James Cameron's The Abyss. If any of you have seen that movie, really underrated sci-fi movie, that one, but often, like I say, not a lot of people sort of remember The Abyss, but it's a great movie with Ed Harris. But sort of turns into that sort of jellyfish type of looking thing. Look out as well for the Akira motorbike slide done by M, which has been in loads of media and movies and cartoons over the years. I think it's been in more things than you can possibly mention. If you don't know the motorcycle slide I'm talking about, just look it up. Look up Akira motorcycle slide. M does one here. So M rides to Duke's Park, where she lets off this sort of cowboy helium balloon and tries to photograph Jean Jacket using this wishing well attraction camera that is pointing up. After swallowing the balloon, it pops and causes the life form to sort of explode. Finally, other reporters and media show up. Not sure where they've been all this time. As I say, wouldn't they have all got there right away? OJ and Lucky are still alive. M manages to get the photo, and that is sort of the end of the movie. As I say, it sort of gets blown up. But it's a really cool film, and I think a sequel is definitely needed. I really do hope we get a sequel for this movie. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed this film, and it's wonderful. You know, like I say, it reminded me a lot of Signs. There's a lot of Spielberg type of feels and flavours in there. But I really hope we get a sequel. But sometimes I guess, with the whole, the antagonist, sometimes it's not knowing what it is what makes things more interesting and frightening. Wonderful. I mean, with this, you get wonderful direction, fantastic cinematography, and in many ways sort of takes you back to how films used to be. The idea of the spectacle, stop trying to subvert audiences' expectations and just give them a great entertaining movie, and that's exactly what Jordan Peele does with Nope. So please make sure to go and check it out if you like your Alien movies, your Spielberg movies. You're going to have a lot of fun with this one, but just definitely watch it with the lights off. Watch it with the lights dimmed. Don't watch it in a brightly lit room, and just watch it with the lights off and have a really good time. So thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory.